And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. My name is Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel, episode 375. And I was exploring the archive, and those early ones got a little weird. Those early numberings. Some had letters, episodes, one and a letter next to it. 375 episodes of this podcast over 7 seasons. And all I want to say on this one is thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for being there each week. When I started out this podcast, all I really wanted to do was to start to document the journey of becoming an amateur radio operator. I had spent a long time on the broadcast side of the microphone, and I wanted to learn how the other side worked, meaning the antenna. How does the transmission work? What is the ionosphere? So I took my tests, took the general test, then I took the extra test, and then set off week after week trying to document where I was, trying to answer questions, starting a community where it was okay to not know everything. Boy, I was asking a lot of questions in the beginning, and I felt like I was leaning on people a little too much locally and sending a lot of email to folks. So I thought maybe I'll just start my own podcast and document this trip I was on. So 375 episodes, and this one is the last. Just like Neil Young teaches us, comes a time. Look it up, folks. Look it up, kids. Neil Young, comes a time. It's time to put down the podcast and, think about the community. Think about what else I want to do as a producer. And I've probably been thinking about this for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. It's not that I feel that the podcast has really run its course and there's nothing else to say, but kinda. And I haven't hit the pinnacle of being a ham. What I'm noticing is I'm not operating enough. I should be operating on our Sunday evening nets. And I think I'm going to, as much as I can. All I can say here is I want to say thank you to you, the listener, to the members of our community, whether you've been a passive member, just meaning that you've been kind of lurking and hanging out and you listen when you want to listen and chime in when you want to chime in. Thank you. Thank you to the members of the community who have engaged deeply, who have become characters on this podcast. I, of course, have to thank Sidecar Steve, W7UDI. Each week he has set aside his time to be with me for a long time and to set aside his knowledge base for a long time. We've had Pastor Joe. We've had a pastor. We've got a pastor in the community. We've had a farmer. Farmer Rex is around. Did I mention Scotty? An engineer, audio engineer working on the show. And many, many more. We have tons of people, limo drivers and people that fly around the world and their country, working and listening and supporting a podcast that really, my intention was to put it out there for free. Just put it out there for free, and it needed to pay for itself. I didn't want to come to the community and say, I need you guys to pay for this. It's really not in my broadcast DNA. The model that I had chosen was one of sponsorship. And quite frankly, back in June, I guess it was, when LDG had to step back, and everybody's stepping back now for whether it is a recession or not a recession or whatever. Times are tough, especially in the ham radio market. And sponsorship is hard to come by. So that part is all right. We were fine. And we've had a lot of great sponsors along the way. I mean, I'm talking from ICOM to LDG to Bioenno Power to PowerFilm Solar. All of you, thank you so much. People have supported this show, with their business. And this week I decided, look, we've got to stop the member-supported sustaining member program, which means people were spending money, $25 a year, and it would get them discounts to participating businesses, that sort of thing. I don't think it's fair to ask those businesses now to give us another price break in a time like this where you're struggling. Everyone's struggling. So that left a pitch to the supporters, basically saying I was going to come on this episode and make a huge pitch to become a community supported program. Meaning I would need you to pay for this because of the cost of all the things. And that doesn't feel right. And so I'm thinking, well, that's not good. And, I'm thinking deep down, and this discussion has been going on internally and with others about what I want to do, because I like many things. I love music and guitars and gardening, history and culture, radio, many, many years, decades worth of radio stories. What happens in this wacky society where you have to niche down so much in your content that what if I got an interview with Paul McCartney? Where am I going to put it? Right? I needed and need more of an outlet for my own self. I need to broaden that. I love radio and amateur radio, and I love preparedness. But the reality is I need to put these things down for a while. I need to put them down. And I'm not trying to say, oh, it's coming back in this form. Amateur radio is part of my life. Broadcast radio is part of my life. Being prepared, thinking about that is part of my life. But I don't like having things so segmented. It means that I've got to manage 2 or more websites and platforms and schedules and subscriptions. Got to edit a lot of different things, social media, all this sort of thing that goes with content creation. And I'm not a business. I'm putting out free content. So whether I do 3 podcasts or 1 podcast or none at all, it all pays the same. But it needs to be able to pay for itself, really. Otherwise, I've got a hobby within my hobby. That's not going to fly. That doesn't work. It's a lot of time and energy. So what I want to do is put this down, hour 73. I'm going to put that down and then think about more of a show that is more of a variety of show that lets me go deeper into the layers of myself, the interests that I have. The gardening, the history, the culture, the whatever. I was in New York for 2 weeks, could have done some really amazing things. Didn't have a place to put it. In my mind, I'm like, whoa, what would you do? You going to start something else and add a third layer to your thingy? No, I don't want to put it on you. I'm just being honest. I don't want anybody's money. The sponsorship stuff it's not about the money. There is no money. Some of the guys may be making money, and I say more power to you. They're locked in to what they're doing, and they have to do to make that money. Some of them are making a living doing that stuff and creating content for amateur radio. They get my support. I really appreciate what they do and that commitment because, 7 years in here, 375 episodes deep, I get it, but I'm not feeling like I'm in a space that allows me to do everything that I want to do. I want to be able to talk about anything. And I know some of you were saying, see, child, you can do that here with us. And I know that. And the community will stay. The community on Facebook, it's there for you. The succession plan is already in place. That means if something happened to me or years down the road, whatever, Um, it's taken care of. People are over there and in place to keep moderating, to keep being administration. Same with Discord. It'll stick around. It's for you guys. This garden here was created for us. So we'll still be on Discord, still on Facebook. That community is there for you. And what I feel to be, and I hope to be, of all of this, we've had great laughs, made great friendships, and that'll all last. That'll all continue. The main thing I would like to see happen in this community is the net, the Sunday evening net. We began as a community based around this podcast. We have taken it to the air. It is a place for fellowship, to come together on a Sunday night to end your week in such a way that you have a little bit more positivity heading into your work week. If there's any sort of quote unquote legacy piece to 100 Watts in a Wire, I hope that the net will remain. And my goal is to be there more often. We're doing live streams. I'm hanging out on live stream. That's cool. But, I should be operating. I should be operating more. I should be setting up and testing. So whatever I do next, whether it's Citizen Kudnick or the Christian Kudnick Show or the Christian Kudnick Podcast, just look for me, because amateur radio will be there. Preparedness will be there. It's all going to have to be there. Or I just don't do anything and I just hang out and do radio and hang out with you guys on Sundays. All of this is good. But that's where we are today, and that's where I am with it. I don't plan a big resurrection. I'm not afraid of change. I'm finicky. Over the years, it's changing antennas, changing situations, changing things around, always looking for something else as a form of expression. If I'm going to move into another podcast lane, it has to encompass this. It has to encompass the elements of Hour 73. I wanted to do Hour 73 because there's more elements, even more shades of things we can explore: the gardening, the permaculture, the preparedness elements. But even that with this still doesn't give me the flexibility if Eddie Vedder comes through and I get an interview. Sure, I could share it. It just doesn't make, it's a little bit easier for me to do whatever I want to do in something new. And again, or nothing. I've got a family, I've got young kids. All of that is a factor. It isn't the reason. It's just a factor. And in terms of creating content, I want to go into a space in podcasting, on YouTube, in whatever comes around, being, my name and laying it out there to you. I invite you all to come with me. I wish I had more details of where I'm landing, but my name. You know where the community is. You know where the community is staying. You know where the nets are. So check into those. That's really what I want as my legacy piece here. No matter what with the podcast, that was always fun. Always, hopefully educational to you and you got value out of that. But the net, operating, being on the air, having that fellowship, checking in with each other, that to me is what I want to see continue here. That's probably what I'm the most proud of, is that I started a community. The community will continue. And it's just this element of our community that I want to put down, because as a creator, as a producer, I want to expand what I do. Or I just want to, not, So there you have it, the state of the show. All I can say is thank you to the supporters. Thank you for the sponsors who have been with us over the years. I do hope the folks that have sponsored us and others and the businesses around amateur radio will rise. There will be more competition among, that, and people will thrive in the amateur radio markets. I think that's great. And to the people, I'm still going to be around. I'll still be able to be found. And I hope to hear you on the radio. That's where I want to be. I want to focus the energy. Sunday nights for me should be about setting aside some time to be in the chair, to listen to you, to make contacts with you. Heck, I might just become the next net control operator. That would be good because then I would be working on the air. You see what I mean? All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Go join the community. 100 Watts and a Wire will exist on Discord. It will remain on Facebook. We'll have to iron out some other things because I'm unsure about the website and how that goes. And, where, if there's a need for that, it was all built around the podcast. So I don't know. There's some things I just don't know, but I do know that this is it for this form and this part of the community. And from here, where I sit, I'm just in a position of thanks. Thankful for you and all our time together and most of all our friendship. So it isn't goodbye. It's let's turn the page and see what comes next. Look for me and come with me if you want to. Let's look for the next thing. Enjoy the community. Participate. And for now, 7-3. And for whatever you do, whatever comes your way, by all means, please try and stay above the noise.
To join the 100 Watts and a Wire community, visit 100wattsandawire.com.